Hannah, please take over.
Okay. Knowledge has a beginning, but no. Says Gita as Iyengar. Talk of the industry weekly webinar series, jointly organized by IEEE Kerala Section, the Institute of Engineers, Kerala Chapter, Foundation Trust, Trivandrum, Life Member Affinity Group, IEEE Kerala Section, IEEE Engineering in Medicine and Biology Society, Kerala Chapter, and the Institute of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering. Once again, a hearty welcome to the 79th talk of Indo Society Weekly Webinar Series, IWWS. We have successfully completed 78 talks with boundless speakers, and the response we have been receiving is enormous. No catch for today's session too. Today, on our 79th talk, we are extremely delighted to have with us Professor Anil Brahmananthan, sir, former principal, Government Engineering College, Barton Hills, Trivandrum, sharing his perception on the paradigm shifts in education. Before we begin, participants are kindly requested to put their names to log in, which you have used while registering. Also, I would like to kindly bring your attention to the feedback link that will be provided during the session. Kindly fill the form and let us know your opinion. And please don't hesitate to mention if there is any requirement for the certificate of you may kindly raise your query. I think she's not the co-host. Sorry, I request the host to please make Rushda as the co-host.
She can do it. She can. Rashida, you can just go ahead and do your duty, please.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I feel it's my pleasure and privilege to be presenting IEEE family and to welcome each one of you to the 79th talk of Inter-Society Weekly Webinar Series talks. Let me appreciate the efforts of Harindralal sir, co-volunteers and professionals of Kerala section who are supporting this event in making this a huge success for the past 78 talks, bringing out the best profiles and presentations to the virtual room. Moving on to my assigned duty, let me welcome our esteemed speaker, Anil sir, former principal, Government Engineering College, Barton Hills, Trivandrum, who will be talking about the paradigm shift in education. We welcome you, sir. Next, I welcome Harindralal sir, Chair of Inter-Society, the leader of IWWS, to the evening. We welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to extend my warm welcome to volunteers of today's session, Hannah Ansar, Anlon JS, Jacob Verghese, and Sai Krishna to the 79th talk. I wholeheartedly welcome all the co-organizing societies, the professional community, and the most charming participants to this wonderful evening. Once again, my cordial welcome to all of you to the 79th talk of Inter-Society Weekly Webinar Series. Thank you.
Thank you, Rushta. Now I invite Sai Krishna TS, IEEE EMBS volunteer, to introduce our illustrious speaker.
A warm, very good evening to one and all who have gathered here. Today, we have with us our honorable speaker, Professor Dr. Anil B., to deliver a keynote on the topic, The Paradigm Shift in Education. Our esteemed speaker, Dr. Anil B., had graduated in mechanical engineering from the College of Engineering, Trivandrum, and later did his MTech and PhD from IIT Madras. And after 33 years of professional career, he retired from service in 2016 as principal of Government Engineering College, Barton Hill, Trivandrum. Our honorable speaker is currently associated with Vidya International Charitable Trust as honorary academic director of his retirement. He had the privilege to work as the director of Kerala State Science and Technology Museum, as well as the founder director of Center for Research, Engineering Research and Development. He also had the opportunity to work as Dean of Faculty of Engineering and Technology, University of Kerala during 2011 to 2013, and initiated steps to establish TRESC Research Park in Trivandrum. Presently, he is the chairman of both the Technical Committee of Lotteries Department as well as the Technical Committee of KSSTM Science City Project. He is also serving as Margadeshak for accreditation in AICTE. Dr. Anil B. was awarded the prestigious WICAM Award for Best Engineering College Teacher in Kerala 2009, as well as the CET ISTE Best Researcher Award 2009, Special Appreciation Award from ISTE New Delhi 2012 and 2013, IIE National Productivity Award in 2014, 2015, and 2019 for his pivotal role in the related fields. He had represented India in the program Higher Studies and Research in Germany, organized by the federal government of Germany, and was invited as a distinguished education speaker in the international conference IEOM 2015 at Dubai. Dr. Albi is also currently active in more than 10 professional societies and is fellow in societies such as the IE1, IEE, and AESI. Once again, on the 79th talk of IWWS, we are honored to welcome Dr. Professor Anil B. to this session. A hearty welcome to you and over to your sessions.
Okay, thank you, Sai Krishna. So the wait is over. Now let's all synchronize our attention towards our esteemed speaker, Professor Anil B. Sir, the platform is all yours.
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Respected Harinderla sir and other participants of this program who are representing various professional societies, the organizing volunteers, and all others who are attending this function. A good evening to all of you. Today's talk we'll be touching upon the history of education and also the changes that has taken place and the new paradigms that we are going to witness in the days to come. So let me share my screen. Okay, is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Now, the webinar is organized in the following fashion, like I'll be touching upon the background and maybe I'll talk upon the evolution of learning and education through the history of mankind, the present technology trends and the desirable competencies that are required in 21st century, then the present educational technology trends, and of course, what is there in future, the types of educational systems that we will be using in the days to come. The progress of humanity, if you just look at it, it's a result of the transmission of accumulated knowledge as well as skills and culture from one generation to another. So you keep on accumulating knowledge based on your observations and other things, and then based on your own experience, and you pass it on to the next generation. And the processes that you use in accumulating this knowledge also helps you in creating new knowledge, and also for translating this knowledge into maybe applications which are useful to the society. And the methods and tools used for knowledge transfer depends upon the needs of the society, and also the social environment, and also the technology that is available at that point of time. So let me introduce some of the terms which I'll be using often in this lecture. The term learning, it's a cognitive process for acquiring new skills, knowledge, and culture. So it's a lifelong process. All of us undergo this, and we do this for acquiring knowledge as well as skills. And of course, our behavior also is to a great extent influenced by the kind of learning that we have. Of course, learning can be done both in formal as well as in informal settings. So if you do it in a formal setting, you institutionalize it, you call it as education. So imparting knowledge by a formal learning process or through an instruction process, you call it as education. And the institution that you have for this formal education, you call it as a school, and that process you call it as schooling. As I mentioned earlier, learning is a lifelong process. On the other hand, schooling is short term. That means the education that you formalized, let us say institutionalized education is a short term process compared to the learning which is lifelong. I told you about the institution where the formal education will take place. Most of us call it as a school. When I say school, it's not primary or secondary school. Any institution where you have this formal kind of education. So you have a law school or medical school or engineering school. Okay, all that are schools. And often we consider schools as indispensable. If you want to have education and learning, we feel that schools are essential. And we have been told by our parents, our educators, peers, politicians, bureaucrats, the entire world, that without schools, the conventional education and the society itself will collapse. Is it true or not? It's a point which we have to debate. Of course, there are different types of arguments. One such argument is from Ken Robinson. His famous lecture in TED series, you can see that do schools kill creativity? It's a very famous lecture. I think it is the most watched lecture in TED series. Okay, he argues that peoples are schooled to confuse. We confuse teaching with learning. It's not. Grades with competence. That's to a certain extent is true, because if you have a high grade, that doesn't mean that you are competent in that subject. Degrees are mistaken for education. Similarly, fluency of handling a language is often thought as he is knowledgeable in that topic. So like that, several things he has pointed out. And 90% of it is true as also. And a similar line, Ivan Illich also has said that schools pervert the natural inclination to learn. So they inhibit the learning. Maybe in the conventional sense, we say that they provide education, but in the learning sense, whether you acquire the necessary competencies, whether the schools have failed us or not, That I'm not sure, because even now we also feel that the grade is the ultimate thing, or the degrees are the ultimate thing. But slowly things are changing. You see that most of the organizations, especially in the private sector, they don't bother about the degree. If you show the competency, they hire you. That stage has come, and the days to come will be more, will move more towards that end. So in the lighter sense, often people say that most people survive and succeed in life not because of, but in spite of their schooling. Anyway, it's in the lighter sense. And we are talking about the paradigm shift. So let me mention what is a paradigm. A paradigm is a set of concepts and practices of a particular knowledge domain. It's a mode of inquiry together with related principles, models, taxonomies, methods. So it gives you a good perspective in presenting the knowledge domain. And paradigm keeps on changing. The way you look at things and present things, that also keeps on changing. As and when you have new knowledge, or the way of thinking changes, or if there are any fundamental changes in the society, it can be political or economic or social changes that are happening in the society, or some of the technological changes that are happening, a paradigm shift occurs. So one prominent thing which all of us know, we have been thinking about the geocentric concepts, but from that, the heliocentric, that concept has entirely changed the way in which we look at the physics, or maybe the way in which the whole universe works. So when a paradigm shift occurs, the worldview of the domain changes and it is replaced by a new worldview. And if you just look at the forces that drive changes in education, education is a very, very prominent area, because we know education is the one which is used for providing the means by which one can get a job and a living. Okay, so what are the forces that drive change in education? Basically, it's all as I mentioned earlier in the paradigm shifts. Here also the same thing: technological innovations and the globalization and internationalization process, because the political and social systems that change, or changes in socio-economic landscape. Because now in education also we see that the emergence of universal access to higher education. Once upon a time, the education was limited to only a very, very small section of the society. But that concept has changed, and now we have universal access to higher education. And right-based approach. Education is now a right, okay, because the Constitution itself says it's the right of the child to get education. As a result, the nation which says that it's a right, the state will provide the necessary means for providing the education. And of course, the change can be due to emergence of new forms of teaching methodology, or it can be from the customer side, can be from the demand side, the high customer expectations that also can force a change in education. Briefly, I will touch upon the history and the evolution of learning and education. So if you just look at the prehistoric era, people were hunter-gatherers. So their needs were very, very limited. Maybe they would like to get some food and shelter from the natural forces or other animals and other persons. Okay, so there the kind of knowledge they required was very limited. And this is transmitted or received and transmitted by maybe observing or by imitation or exploring. Okay. And by exploring, you get new knowledge as well. And there was no formal systems, only informal systems of learning were present at that point of time. But later, let us say 10,000 years ago, when agricultural era started, when agriculture became, or when the plants were planting was done in a very systematic way, we needed knowledge about the crops or maybe seasons, pests, or tools and implements for doing it. And of course, production of these tools and processing these grains and things like that. So you need skills for tool making, and the kind of knowledge transmission was primarily by word of mouth and observation. And of course, a little bit of documentation also was present. But the formal education, especially literacy, numeracy, and all, was limited to a very small segment of the society. Those who have or possess the land and the money and the power. Okay, so education was limited to only a very small section of the society. But once the industrial era started, let us say some 300 years ago, there was a rapid or mass demand for skilled workforce. Maybe people who are skilled in doing factory work, or maybe people who are good at literacy as well as numeracy, because new areas of business also started evolving, maybe banking or money lending or insurance or other areas where a lot of data processing is essential or data documentation is necessary. So the demand for the people who are skilled increased rapidly. So the old word of mouth or maybe a Gurukula system was not sufficient to cater to the needs. So then we went in for the formal university system where people or disciplines have been compartmentalized, and each topic or each subject, you have a number of courses attached to that, and specialized teachers will be coming and giving lectures or imparting knowledge to a large number of persons, and there will be methods by which their knowledge will be tested, and a formal education system and a proof of their knowledge also will be given in the form of a degree or certificate or a diploma or whatever. Okay, so that is where the formal university system started. And around 50-60 years back, with the advent of digital computers, things have changed quite a bit, because the communication systems, networking and all evolved, and the competencies essential for the workforce also changed. Not only numeracy and literacy, but you need logical thinking, structured problem solving, and other kinds of skills, communication skills, and okay, those kind of skills are also essential. Since computer became central, we have computer-based education, computer-aided teaching, learning management systems, MOOCs, 3D modeling, walkthroughs, conference platforms, and whatnot. This is the kind of thing what we experience today. And coming to the next phase, at the moment we are in the interface of the information era and the new era which is about to come. It's often called the exponential era or conceptual era, or sometimes it is called a consumer's era or customer's era. Here we expect disruptive innovations to take place. As a result, hundreds of new products will be coming into the market to cater to the various needs of the society. High-speed computing will be present, hyper global connectivity, high-speed connectivity will be possible, massive data storage, and also means by which the data can be analyzed, data visualization can be done, okay, and advanced algorithms for processing this data. Then also we find that due to advances in medicine and healthcare, we have longer lifespan of human beings, which also will pose a lot of things, because at the moment the people are employed till maybe 60, 65, and maybe another 10, 15 years they will live. But now what happens is people will start living more than 100, 110. So that means after 55, 60, they have another 50 years to live. Okay, and they are most of them are active also. So that poses new problems, because things they have learned already will not be sufficient to take them further, because new things are happening every day. So lifelong learning, unlearning and relearning. So those things will be essential during that point of time. And another major change that will take place in the product sense will be personalization of the products. Whether it is an automobile or a shirt or a pen, people would like to get it customized. In a similar fashion, the services also, we need personalized services compared to, let's say, ready-made services. Then people are more worried about the sustainability. So sustainable development models, even in education, we have to think of means by which this has to be incorporated. And unlike other era, here the global marketplace, because the boundaries are slowly going off. So whatever product that you are making or the people who are teaching, it is meant for the global market. So this is what we are going to experience now. But I'm not sure whether it will last for another 15, 20 years or maybe 50 years. That I'm not sure. Computer era or information era, by 60 years, it has almost matured. Now we are about to go to the next era. Industrial era was there for 350 years. Computer era lasted only for 50, 60 years. So maybe exponential or conceptual era for another 20, 25 years. Not sure. Now, in the new world, what are the kind of competencies that we talk about? Of course, the numeracy, literacy, and all is basic things. I think, assuming that universally it is available, okay, what are the additional things that we look for? Is critical thinking skills, creativity, the ability to bring out something new, right? Then collaboration, because only teamwork will, individually you cannot carry out tasks. So collaboration. So the education systems that you create also must provide for that kind of collaboration right from the lower levels. Then communication skills was not only oral and written communication, but other forms of communication as well. So you need information literacy by means that I would say that digital literacy. A person must be competent in using the computers and information processing. Then media literacy. One must be very, very thorough with the kind of media that you are using. Okay. Then technology literacy, because the newer and better products are coming into the market every day to help you in all your tasks. So you must be technology savvy to get used to these kind of devices. And you must be flexible. That means if you are very rigid and you say that I will do only this, I will not change, that will not work. That's not going to work in the coming days. Then of course you have to take the leadership and initiative and the productivity. So if you want to be very, very, let us say, cost effective, then you must be highly productive. Your productivity must be high, and definitely other social skills to keep you going in the new society. Now this picture, I hope it's visible, right? It's a folk of sheep. So despite the changes in technology, economic changes, political setting, the models of education has remained unchanged since 19th century. When I say it does not change, it's only literal in the sense 90% of it is not change. Maybe there are some minor changes, but no major change. In the last 350 years, no major change has happened. So this standardized model, we have a standardized curriculum. The traditional things, we have a standardized curriculum. And we also use a conventional system for evaluation. That is also a summative. At the end, we check whether he has acquired the skill. Are you checking whether he has acquired the skill? No. We are only checking his memory, whether he has memorizing the lessons or not. At no point of time, the competencies are checked. So this is so. Even in spite of all these changes that we are talking about, even in the modern era, this is the situation. Now, some of the current technology trends that we expect, and it is present. I'm not talking about things which will happen in future, but that very difficult to predict. The technology which is available now, let us have a look. Improved IT infrastructure, it's happening, all of us know, and affordable and fast connectivity, that is also true, because 3G to 4G to 5G, and maybe better ways of getting connected, faster ways of connecting, more devices getting connected is a reality. Then real life visualization technologies. We are familiar with virtual reality and augmented reality. So these technologies, visualization technologies, is going to impact heavily on education. Then improved haptic interfaces and devices. So far, we have devices which will help you in see things and maybe hear things, but interfaces which will help you in feel things, right? So such haptic interfaces are getting developed, and right now also some of them are in the experimental stage and being used. Different types of sensors as well as actuators and devices which will help you with your senses. So you get a feedback as you do in the real life. The system also will be able to give from the virtual device when you are handling, it will be able to give you a feeling of maybe a push or a heat or any or a shock or whatever. Okay, those kind of haptic sensors and interfaces are a reality today. And Internet of Things, when you have hundreds of sensors, devices, actuators, motors, okay, and all these are connected by means of IoT. This is also a reality now. 3D printing and robotics. 3D, so when a new part is to be manufactured, it's an additive manufacturing process. So from small parts, even buildings are being 3D printed now. And robotics, all of you know what it is. Then artificial intelligence and machine learning. This is also going to change the educational field in a major way. And of course, blockchain technology, this will help you in maintaining the records. So we are talking about in the later slides, I will talk about how the records of the students can be maintained right from LKG up to maybe up to his death, right? Because it is lifelong learning that I am talking about. So competencies that he acquire, the kind of certifications and other things he has, his weaknesses, all those things can be tracked and stored using blockchain technology. And data analytics, because it's this field is being coming up in a big way. So this also will help educational technology. I'll explain it in more detail in the coming slide. Of course, nanotechnology, biotechnology, and all technologies which you are aware of. And these neurochips, it has already been demonstrated, but it is still to evolve. Of course, Elon Musk is up to that, because once the neuro chips are in place, maybe reading and other things will become obsolete, because interface to your brain can be given from the computer itself. Okay. Now, some of the educational technology trends. The other one was major technology trends. Coming to educational applications, e-learning, all of you are aware, from face-to-face classroom teaching. Now, right from LKG up to, let us say, PhD, everyone is using e-learning, because the pandemic, COVID pandemic, has played havoc. And in the chaos, you can see that the e-learning has emerged. Even though e-learning was there for 20-25 years, people have not taken it very seriously. But the pandemic has made it a reality. And we have seen that e-learning is possible right from LKG up to a PhD level. So at any level, e-learning is possible. And going back to face-to-face will be a great step. Anyway, we'll see how it will move forward. Then we have collaborative teaching and learning. So I mentioned to you earlier that this is a concept which helps you in, let us say, working in groups. Even in our, let us say, studies, we talked about group studies. Okay, combined studies and things like that. It's a small example of this collaborative learning, but that will be extended to formal setting, and tasks will be given to groups of students rather than individuals. Then experimental learning and immersive learning. You have immersive learning experience. So one objection to e-learning is that you will not have the practical experience. But in immersive and experimental or experiential learning technology, you will have virtual systems where you can immerse in and then handle objects as you do in the real life. So with haptic technology, haptics devices and other things, you will be in a position to experience the experiments and physical objects. And this is going to change educational technology in a big way. Then social media and learning, all of you know, we have, because not only children, but even elders, you can see that at least a major portion of their time is spent on social media, whether it is a messaging system or Facebook or Twitter or whatever, okay, or creating blogs. A lot of their time is being spent in social media. So why can't we use that as an opportunity to enhance the educational experience? A blended learning will be a combination of these things, combining face-to-face with other forms of education. And some people have already tried, and some results are also available. Then a new concept that is coming in is the personalized curriculum or customized learning. Earlier model of education, I told you that it's a standardized curriculum, same curriculum for everyone. If there are 1,000 students, or let us say 50,000 students in engineering, okay, out of that, let us say 10,000 in mechanical engineering, all mechanical engineering students will be learning the same curriculum. Okay, so instead of that, in the days to come, we'll be having a personalized curriculum. Okay, a person who is taking a major in mechanical engineering, maybe he's have options to learn a little bit of electrical, little bit of electronics, and a little bit of arts. or a little bit of computer science, and the competencies acquired in will be attached to his portfolio. Okay, a personalized curriculum. So that means no two curriculum will look alike. And since we are not bothered about the degree that you attain, and you look at the competencies that a person acquire, it works well. And coming to learning analytics, because it's an extension of data analytics, that you acquire the data of the individual and you create scenarios or you look at it and what are the defects in or what are the drawbacks of that person, and where the help is required. Okay, whether is it in writing or is it in speaking, or whether it is essay writing or in problem solving. So the data collected throughout his life can be used for creating models by which specific problems of the student can be identified and it can be rectified. Okay, so learning analytics become a big area, and it will help in formulating the personalized curriculum as well. Then the gamification, it's again going to be a big area because it's a problem solving approach. As well as youngsters are concerned, we know that they spend quite a lot of time in gaming, and even elders also like playing games, right? So the gamification, or in this particular approach, what we want to teach will be presented by means of a game, and models will be created so that once you play that game, you acquire that competency. So this has already been proved for past 5-6 years. The SpaceX team, their children of SpaceX company, they have a school called Astronova, right? They employ this technique, and they have found that it is very successful, and at the moment they are offering it worldwide for other students also to take up, other kids also to take up. And of course, social media, I don't want to elaborate any more, because various social media platforms are there, which can also be used effectively for education and educational marketing. That is also one area which you have to look at, marketing of the education. And artificial intelligence in education, this is going to change the whole scenario. First and foremost, the AI is going to replace, or to certain extent replace the teachers and enhance the ability of teachers already in the field. We have chatbots. Even most of it's a technology which is available now. Okay, you open an application immediately, the chatbot will be there. It will ask whether you need any help. You give a chat, you give your query, so immediately it will give some answer. So in educational technology also, you will have that chatbots, which will help you in answering your questions. So you play a video, and if you have some doubts, the students will type the question, and these chatbots will be answering those questions, right? And the kind of questions that come in will go into the database of these chatbots. And as a result, what happens is, as and when more and more people are using the system, its vocabulary, its knowledge base also will increase. And if by any chance the system is unable to answer the question, so there will be back support from where the experts will be contributing to the answer. Okay, so over a period of time, what happens is the system becomes an expert, and he'll be his knowledge base will be much superior to human beings. Okay, and you can have digital assistants in your class. So you deliver your lecture through your e-learning platform, a recorded video or online platform, and leave the rest to the digital assistant or the chatbot. Okay, and only when there is some problem, you need intervene. Okay. And the bots, the chatbots, instead of chatbots, the other, software can help you in preparing the content. That too is smart content, which contains both videos or audios or textual material, presentations, examples, case studies. Okay, because quite a lot of knowledge is available in the net. So these bots will crawl the net, collect data, then prepare the material, and an expert can vet it and then put it in place. And intelligent tutoring systems. So intelligent tutoring systems, you will have systems by which or devices which will track the students, and it will tell whether attention is there or not, whether they have understood it or not, by facial expression or the expression in the eyes, or whether you are sleeping, dozing, or other body features will be identified by the system, and it will react accordingly. Okay, so intelligent tutoring systems are coming into place. Then personalized assessment. As I mentioned earlier, individual attention will be given, his history will be tracked, and then his assessment will be done, and what type of assistance is required by the students, or in which area he is weak, that can be supplemented by the personalized assessment. Then automated evaluation and grading. So because the regular grading that you are talking about, it's a monotonous activity, so the teachers need not spend their valuable time for this, because the system itself can do it in a better way. Because manually, if you are grading it, depending upon the mode, maybe sometimes even if I am valuing it, maybe I will give 10 marks. Next time I am doing it, I will be giving 9, or maybe I will give 11, depending upon the mode. Or so, but in an automated evaluation system, the computers will not make that kind of a mistake. So grading and all will become more precise. Then the content analytics and intelligence. It is basically on the collecting the content and looking at what is the response it is making and how effective it is. That is being studied in the content analytics. And based on this content analytics, you can change the format or increase the, let us say, textual content or audio content or case studies or whatever. Then information visualization. This is a new area. Even in newspapers, you can see that earlier the data was presented by textual matter, but now things are being done using graphs and other kinds of graphics, which will give more color to, or more meaning to the text that is being presented. So information visualization is another area which can be automated also. Data which is given to that AI system, it can prepare necessary visualization device or graphics. So what is there in the future as far as education is concerned? First and foremost is it's a borderless world. So you will be dealing with internationalization. So even people will come from other countries to our country, and our students anyway, many of them are going outside and other countries. So it's a borderless kind of education. Then virtual labs and immersive learning, because I told you the virtual reality and augmented reality, that becomes a norm, especially for visualizing things, right? For example, if you want to learn about the heart, you can go inside the heart and see. Or if you want to see a particular operation, because nowadays only in very specialized hospitals you will be able to see a particular operation being done. You will be able to see, or maybe you have to see a recorded video. On the other hand, using a virtual thing, you yourself can do the operation. Even if you make a mistake, nobody is going to die. Okay, so you can come back and do it in the proper fashion. And of course, we other mix of actual and augmented canvases. So face to face, I don't say that will go off completely, but still it will be there. But it will be augmented by these virtual laboratories and other e-learning facilities. Okay, so there will be a mix of actual and augmented canvases. And adaptive learning platforms. This is a platform where, based on the requirement of the students, the learning abilities and his requirements, the platform will suggest what are the things that has to be used. And this will help in achieving the optimized output from the user. Then, of course, there will be virtual universities where 90 or even more percentage of work will be automated, like academic work as well as administrative work. Because administrative work, if you just look at it, let's say getting admissions, collecting fees, issuing receipts, or scheduling classes, okay, giving admission to hostels or whatever. Okay, all this, administrative work can be fully automated without any problem, and that will happen whether we like it or not. That will happen because after all, it is economies that is going to work, right? And one opposition to this will be people will lose jobs. Of course, this has been there when the computers came in. Okay, but you have to find new fields where employment opportunities are there. So academic work also, I said, even teaching, part of it can be the virtual assistants and other things, grading, assessment, all these can be the issue of certificates or competency proof, all that can be done by automated means. And you can have a completely virtual university also. It is not impossible, it is possible and it will happen. And another change that is going to happen is instead of the conventional degrees, people will go for competency-based micro diplomas or certificates or micro degrees or degrees with many minors. Okay, one major degree with many minors, so that you will have more opportunities outside, and it will be competency based. So if you have such and such a diploma, people know that you have such and such a competency. And evaluation is not summative, it will be formative. That is, on the go, you will be assessed and you will be given the badge. So not the end semester or end of course assessment. Okay. And another change that is about to happen is unbundling of services. So if you just look at a university or college, you find that there are many areas or many functionalities to it. And getting the subject content is only one of the functions. Another one will be getting the campus experience. Another one will be to have some communication skills and other things with your friends. And another thing will be attending a football match or a game or some arts festival. So that means in a campus, there are various functionalities. And at the moment, the entire thing is considered as a single entity and a fees is collected. So when you pay for the course, that means that is for the entire thing. Now, unbundling means if you want e-learning, you pay only for e-learning. Okay, face-to-face you need not bother, because face-to-face will be much costlier compared to e-learning. And similarly, if you want the campus experience, that means you may have to pay additionally, right? So unbundling of services, and those services which you are using, you pay for it. Okay, it looks good as far as the customer is concerned, and the person who is providing the service also, he gets maximum benefit for whatever service he is providing. And when I talk about unbundling, maybe some of the experiences will be given by the third-party providers. So including the evaluation, grading can be done by a third party. Even today that is happening. Okay, proctored tests done by various agencies. Okay, similarly the university exam can be done by a third party, or practical can be done by a third party. Okay, you want to do a computer lab, you go to a computer lab exclusively for that purpose, and you do the practical there, right? You need not be in the institution where you are doing it. Okay, or centralized facilities in every town you have, let us say, a heat engines lab or networks lab or whatever. You go there and then do your practical. So third party providers will be giving you the service. Then another thing that's going to happen is governments will cut down the funding to the universities. The public funding will be coming down because priorities will change. So one way of doing it will be, there will be tie-up with the corporates. Okay, so maybe Infosys, College of Engineering Trivandrum tie-up. So, or maybe Tata with some other institution. So corporates will be having a high stake in the institution, and they in turn will get students or products or people who are trained in their requirement. Okay, so that is one possibility. Okay, and government is slowly withdrawing from the especially in higher education field, in primary and other high school education will be there, but in higher education there is a chance that academy corporate tie-up and academic bank of credits, even the NEP 2020 visualized this academic bank of credits. So the credits that you earn will be fully recorded, and at any time you can leave a course, you can come back to the course for lateral entry and lateral exit and entry. That's possible, and depending upon the credits that you acquire on a specific area, you are given a particular degree or whatever. Okay, so bank of credits. Then a personalized curriculum, I think I have already mentioned. So so far we have seen uniformity in all these curriculum, but from that uniformity we will go to diversity. Then of course quite a lot of experimentation will be there in content and as well as in delivery. Okay, I just tell you, this is a certificate, sample certificate of IIT Madras for their Bachelor of Science, Programming and Data Science. This is a virtual course, online course. So IIT Madras, even in India, IIT Madras is offering a course online, Bachelor of Science in Programming and Data Science. So even though some of the things which I say looks awkward or weird, it's about to happen. Of course, I must mention about the hidden curriculum as well. Okay, so it is basically the provisions made in the curriculum to have different types of competencies in the student to face the real world. Of course, various virtues like honesty, punctuality, communication skills, presentation skills, teamwork, all that skills or competencies required are built into our curriculum itself. But unfortunately, what happens is people will not see this because there is no one-to-one mapping of this competency with an activity. Okay, so some of the things they just leave it. Even teachers and students, they leave it. And as a result, the hidden curriculum is not in action now. So what is meant by this hidden curriculum is not achieved. Hopefully, in the new setup, people will be more realistic. And when we go in for the competency-based grading and the competency-based assessment, formative assessment, maybe these things will naturally come into play. So I think this is what I just wanted to share. And if you have some questions, you can.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. It was great listening to you. Sir, we have received some queries regarding the session. It will be very kind of you if you respond to this doubt, sir. Shall I read it out for you?
Yeah, sure. I will just try to answer them in whatever possible way I know. I'll just try to answer. Okay.
Okay, sir. First question is from Lily Kuti ma'am, and she has requested to please explain the role of universities in the exponential or conceptual era.
The role of universities, basically, when we say university, it is an institution which will impart knowledge and competencies to an individual and give a stamp that, okay, such and such an individual is having such and such a competency. So as a testing agency, as an approving agency, as an agency which will give you a stamp, universities are essential. It can be a small or large, but it is essential. So in exponential area also, when somebody wants to hire, you can test the competency on your own, but if the organization is small, maybe you don't have time and money to do that. So you have to rely on somebody else who will say that such and such a person has such and such a competency. So to that extent, yes, universities are essential. And again, suppose somebody is doing a work or education in a different part of the country, migration, there again, somebody has to say that this person is having the prerequisite to do the work or further the work. So in that level, universities are essential. I hope that answers your question.
Yes. Second question is from Alan Francis Joseph. And the question is, so what's your opinion about job-oriented education? He further added, many people are still jobless nowadays. Is this scene shows the problems in Indian education system?
First of all, for Indian, in the Indian context, the main problem is the population, right? We have too many people for too less jobs. And of course, we have not moved into a level where we can provide employment for all. Once this our population is an advantage also, because everyone require products, different types of products. So that means the requirements are also there, but we have not reached that level. And what is your opinion about the job-oriented education? Okay, ultimately all education philosophically, we can say that I want education to get enlightenment. But maybe people who are already retired and want to, let us say, have a nice time, maybe for them, education will be an enlightenment. For all others, education and learning is mainly meant for getting a job so that they can get some salary, and with that money they can enjoy their life. So job oriented education, all education is mainly job oriented itself.
Okay, sir. Next question is, will you please discuss some tools, process, and outcome of learning analytics? This was also raised by Lilikuti ma'am.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure, sir. Will you please discuss some tools, process, and outcome of learning analytics?
At the moment, I am unable to, point out the name of the software or anything like that. Of course, I can share it with you if you. My email ID will be given at the end. So if you communicate with me, I can share some material on this area.
Okay, sir. Next question was put forward by Sangaransi Pillai Srikumar, and it raises, with the advent of new technologies, exposure to social media worldwide, there is a darker area in education, which results in the decline of social values, increasing cybercrimes, the addition of disastrous games, gambling, and all happening. So, in our curriculum, a corrective measure is required, and how it can be achieved, in your opinion?
Here again, I will ask you to just remember the hidden curriculum which I have mentioned. So when we are framing a curriculum, so in addition to the subject matter, we are putting certain aspects which will help acquire other competencies, right? So by doing one activity or other which is mentioned in the curriculum, you will be acquiring those competencies, whether it is honesty or maybe truthfulness or maybe good behavior, punctuality. So in a similar fashion here, while forming the curriculum itself, you will have activities and other case studies which will bring in this kind of a value to us, to the student. It is possible. Whether you use it or not, that is a different issue. So if you take a knife, you can use it for cutting an apple. That means using it for a useful purpose, or you can use it for stabbing somebody, right? So the social media also is like that. Social media has got wonderful opportunities for using it in a positive way. At the same time, let us say 20 to 30% of the time, it will be misused also. So people only look at the dark side of it. The technology has got so many advantages. But this cannot be, misusing the technology, we cannot prevent. Yes, we can reduce it, and we can keep vigil and make some laws, and the government can have some legislation and things like that to control it. Other than that, I think everyone has to be very, very aware of these bad effects of such technology and media. Okay.
Okay, sir. Next query is from NN Panikar. Will institutional forms of education with syllabus give way to free styles such as work study and home learning? And he has also congratulated you for this excellent presentation.
Thank you, sir. We have been associated in a number of occasions. Thank you, sir, for the comment. And institutional forms of education give way to freestyles. Yeah, sure. I think that will happen. That will happen because As I said earlier, the curriculum, then syllabus and all can be personalized, and then the way in which you learn, there again you have a choice. Maybe a part of it you can go for face-to-face, maybe part of it you do it at home, okay, or part of it you do it as a internship in an organization. It is possible. Okay, so it all depends. Anyway, no clear-cut roadmap is there right now. From my imagination also, I have taken sort of whatever tool, devices, technologies are available, I have put them in place, and some trend is seen. So I'm telling my view based on that trend. It is possible.
Okay, sixth question was from Narayanan Nair, and the question is, evolution of education system for the future as indicated here, how fast this will take place in a democratic state like ours?
Yeah. In the problem with the democracy is convincing the majority. Okay, and people are resistant to change. It's very, very difficult to convince people. So you are comfortable in a particular place, you don't want to change. So when I say some new systems are there which is good for you, you won't accept. Because traditionally we have been doing things in this manner, so I want to do things only in that manner. So that's the kind of way the majority will approach. And one fine morning, something bad happens, and then they will, okay, this is good. So all technologies have been accepted that way. Okay, so in education technology also the change will happen. When from Gurukula system to university system, there have been heavy objection. Okay, that was there, but over a period of time that has changed. People now went in for university system, and now we are talking about from face to face, we are talking about e-learning. There was some resistance how that will be work, quite a lot of resistance. But once COVID came, e-learning became very, very popular. I told you, even in the nursery classes, I've seen small kids sitting in front of the computer screens and then reciting rhymes or maybe alphabets and animals, flowers, names of flowers and all. Okay, so that's happening. 5 years ago, if you talk about this e-learning and all, people will say it's all not possible in this country. It has happened in our country. So the evolution, you cannot resist, it will come. Okay, next.
Okay, so next question is from Harindralal Anandasam, and the question is, even though everyone is lamenting that majority of the students coming out of the universities are not employable, but no concrete effort is being made to improve this condition. Your comments, please.
Yeah. See, all through, okay, the people have been like that. The peoples who are coming out of universities, they are not industry ready. Even earlier it was like that. Even today it is like that. Okay. Earlier, what used to happen is maybe there is a training period of 1 year or 2 years during which the individual will spend with the institution, organization, or industry or whatever, then learn the tricks of the trade, and then starts performing. That 1 hour, 1 year or 1.5 year or 2 year period is given a reduced salary, and in some cases you have to pay also, right? And then once you are ready, then only they are fully absorbed into the system. But here in the recent times, what is happening is they want everything ready-made. The industry, especially the IT industry, they want the graduates to work from day one. without giving exposure to what exactly is being happening in the industry. So in the universities, they learn some fundamentals, and depending upon the industry requirements, they have to mold the students or the graduate into their stream that they are not ready to do. And they lament that they are not industry ready. Even the people who are lamenting, they were also not industry ready when they graduated, right? Now, one trend we see today is you do campus recruitment and you are given some assignments to learn these things. So before you join, you get qualified. And that learning they have to do at the expense of the student itself or the graduate himself. The industry is not ready to pay for this. It's all economics. That's why they are lamenting. So all throughout, it was like that only. A student who is coming out of the university, fresh graduate, he cannot be employed in a particular industry because it's the generalist who is coming out, and the particular industry has to take pains to mold that particular graduate to his industry. Okay, hope that answers.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. That was really a great interactive session. Now I invite Jacob Burgess, IEEE EMBS volunteer, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Hello, hope I'm audible enough.
Yeah, you're audible.
A warm and cherished evening to one and all. Most valued Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Anil B., and all other esteemed dignitaries and dear participants. I, Jacob Burgess of TKMIT, is privileged to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution to those who work hard to make the 79th talk of Inter-Society Weekly Webinar Series. On behalf of IWWS, I give a really heartfelt vote of thanks to our chief guest, Professor Dr. Anil B., who spent his busiest time gracing the occasion. Today, we had the opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this is definitely encouraging us in our future events. Your thoughts had enlightened our minds and shown us a new path. As a token of love and honor, we would like to present you a virtual memento. Sir, kindly accept it.
Thank you.
A special mention to Harindra Lal sir, respected chairperson of IWWS, being the catalyst that inspired us to do our best and stand as a pillar of power. With deep sense of appreciation, we thank you, sir. I would also like to express our sincere gratitude to the people who worked behind the scene to execute this event. Our technical arrangement team, especially Mr. Anlon, Ms. Hannah, the moderator of the session, Ms. Rashda, who delivered the welcome speech, and Mr. Sai Krishna, who gave introduction to the speaker. At the end, I express my thanks to all the participants gathered tonight. Your active participation was a success of this webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jacob. As we have come to an end of this session successfully, I would like to announce the next session in our interview series. That is, next Wednesday, 2021, we will have our 80th talk series with Mr. Philip Managing Goodbye, and this is Hannah signing off. The meeting is officially closed.
Thank you, Professor Anil.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, for your great time, and it's a great presentation. Lot of informations. Thank you very much. We
Thank
look
you
forward
for the
for
opportunity.
your future. Yeah, we look forward for your future support too.
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure.
Everyone is requested to attend the next program. next Wednesday, same time. Thank you very much.